Hello, everybody. This following essay that you're about to hear from me was an essay that I handed in at the very end of my junior year of high school about 9 months ago before I got expelled for a stupid reason. And I got about a C-. Now, I personally really like this essay, and a lot of the people who are in my acquaintance circle who may watch this video have already heard this essay just because I really like it a lot. The assignment that I was given, the prompt, was that I have to create an alternate history timeline by changing one single event that happened in the past. It can be anything. JFK assassination, the invention of Pornhub, Hitler doing his thing, anything. Any historical event. And I decided to rewind way back to John Smith in Jamestown. What if John Smith hadn't done his thing to history? What would happen then? And I believe that the history that ensues is highly accurate and will enlighten you. You will gain a new understanding of our world and our existence, and also the butterfly effect, which is a really, really fascinating idea and concept, unironically. So, I really encourage you to elongate your attention span a little bit. Sit back, relax, listen to this essay, perhaps look at the visuals that I might edit in later. Let's begin. It has been said that the butterfly effect is a concept that comes with many factors and fascinating imaginary alternate realities. The idea of the butterfly effect is that all events gain more and more importance as time goes on, and that any and all effects that happen as a result of anything cannot be undone with time. Because of the ceaseless brutality of passing time, all past events can't help but snowball in importance and dangerously roll down the hill of cause and effect. Some may visualize this butterfly effect as small causes forever expanding in importance, which would mean that the total amount of importance in the universe is in a constant state of increase, since the uncountable number of events simultaneously happening in the universe does not change as time goes by. Because we know that our current universe's measured importance and our past universe's measured importance is the exact same amount, approximately 1 universe unit's worth of importance, this way of thinking is wrong, lame, and gay. Instead, think of our universe as an infinitely gigantic spiderweb, with each thread being a single occurrence or event. Every single thread is connected with all other threads. Each thread feeds its material into the rest of the tangled mass that is our universe. That's what the butterfly effect truly is, and anyone who says otherwise should not be allowed to vote. With all that said, let's get into more specific context without getting all cringy and existential. The first American colony of Jamestown was a hot mess, as everyone knows, and nothing and no one could stop its reign of frightening failure, except for one buff, big-boned, bearded messiah known as John Smith. He looked at all the bubonic plague-infested children with their organs exposed eating their family members and decided it was some time for some leadership that didn't suck. With the power of his triumphant leadership skills and his very generic and easy-to-forget name, John Smith lifted Jamestown out of the feces pit it had been waiting in prior and raised it to new levels of functionality. This set American history down a very specific path that would not exist if John Smith hadn't pulled this plague, cannibalism, and incest-riddled town up by its dirty and infected bootstraps and made history. It is undebatable that although John Smith's name will probably be forgotten, his impact on America will not. So, question in bold, what if John Smith never came around to Jamestown? Well, allow for master historian Brion Case to inform you of the events to come. Stage 1. There are 4 stages, by the way. Stage 1. It is a bleak evening in December of 1607. After being accused of mutiny by his persistently paranoid Captain Christopher Newport, or as Smith called him, Captain Christopher Boobfart, because Smith isn't too fond of Newport as a person, back in 1606, John Smith resided in the filthy and sticky prison cabin of Boobfart's gross and lame ship. However, after everyone on Boobfart's crew realized that Smith was to be on the governing council, they immediately released him. Absolute bird brains. John Smith continues fulfilling his destiny by pursuing his passion of exploring. However, in 1607, Smith runs into a more formidable enemy than Boobfart, Chief Powhatan and his men. John Smith highly dislikes Indian people and calls them riggers because he feels that the Indians are always punching upward and sabotaging the white man's dreams, and also because it is a combination of the words red and nigger. And I put in parentheses, I believe that the word nigger is historically relevant and thus is acceptable in this essay. John Smith says to himself, maybe in an alternate reality, these riggers would successfully capture me, but I'm gonna fight back, goddammit. I'm John Smith. These riggers think they have me in the palms of their hands, but they're just about to find out who John Smith really is. John Smith immediately gets a fatal spear wound in his butt and dies on the Indian grounds. Wow, white man really bad at fighting and being strong, like broken bamboo stick. He is aimless, like wounded baby buffalo, the Indian men said to one another. You know what this means? If this white man is weak, like wounded albatross, then every cracker on earth must be weak like him. A man's strength is determined by his bloodline. Chief Powhatan proudly declares to his men, we shall work together and trample over the white man like buffalo stampede, trampling a group of infant children. The Indians march over to the first white settlement they can find and immediately begin picking fights with the white man. However, this white settlement just happened to be Jamestown. Chaos and hatred appears to be firing from all directions when a commoner, Bob John, steps up on a dead tree trunk and yells, "Stop! Don't you realize how foolish this is? You've been voluntarily fighting a war that nobody's gonna win. You're all gonna be worse off than when you started. Now, I would scold you all for being morons, but that's not constructive. I want to encourage harmony between these two races, or my name isn't Bob John." The Indians and whites stop and reconsider all of the choices they have made. Cracker man with forgettable name is right, fellow Redskins, Chief Powhatan says with a hint of shame in his bellowing voice. If we continue to live this way and terrorize others because skin is different, we will become aimless, like buffalo with its head cut off. Powhatan and Bob John approach each other, shake each other's dirty hands, and harmony ensues. Now this is supposed to be a gravestone. Oh, here lies Bob John. 1587 to 1621, equality supporter, civil rights leader, harmony advocate. His name might be forgotten, but his liberation efforts shall be remembered forever. Was shot with a bow and arrow on his balcony by a racist Indian man who disagreed with Bob John's efforts at equality. Stage 2. It is a bright, bustling morning in 1917 America. Crossbreeding between whites and Indians has proven successful, and mixed-race man Woodrow Wilting Flower Wounded Salmon wakes up to see his lifelong childhood friend and fellow mixed-race man, Theodore Teddy Running Buffalo Velt. Come on, Woodrow Wilting Flower Wounded Salmon, get out of your bed, come see, Teddy excitedly says, shaking Woodrow in his bed. Woodrow, exhausted and depressed, looked up at his old friend. Oh, Teddy Running Buffalo Velt, if you want to play Indian circle hopscotch like we did when we were kids, I'm not up for it. We're not kids anymore, Ted. Teddy, who was always the gregarious and cheerful one, laughed. Ha ha! Oh no, don't be a silly buffalo. Mark Frightened Ferret Twain, the previous chief president of America, has died of ass cancer. Woodrow was taken aback. Ass cancer? Oh no, who will take Mark Frightened Ferret Twain's place? Woodrow, are you thinking what I'm thinking? Probably not, but maybe I am. The chances are very slim. Look outside! Woodrow Wilting Flower Wounded Salmon. Do you see that empty stage with a crowd of leaderless people around it? Do you think the two of us could have a chance at becoming the new chief presidents? Oh, Teddy Running Buffalo Velt, that is a mere fantasy. I want a 3-man party in order to run. I believe the best things come in 3s. You don't need to worry about that, Woodrow, because I've gotten our other lifelong friend, Adolf Charging Cheetah Hitler, to help us out with that. Oh, him? Don't you think he's a bit, non-empathetic to have the commoner's interests at heart? Oh, don't worry, you silly bison. He's half Indian, half white, just like the rest of us. How can he not understand? Plus, if he gets out of line, we'll use this system I like to call checks and balances. And this is supposed to be their Oval Temple letter. Apologies. Oval Temple letter. Dear incoming chief presidents, the letter that you find in your Oval Temple is the action of us passing the torch, per se, and welcoming you to the responsibilities of the most important job in America. Things have changed a lot in this country since we ran and won by an unstoppable landslide. Now only 3-person parties are allowed to run for president, and taking large dumps in the White Temple's fountains is prohibited. Due to our revolutionary 1919 3 is better than 1 act, we have become an extremely efficient governing tool. Whenever Teddy became too enthusiastic, Woodrow would make him think logically. Whenever Woodrow would get depressed, Adolf would assure him that with his strategic expertise, there was nothing that the 3 of us couldn't do. And whenever Adolf went off the rails, Teddy would massage his belly and calm him down. The three of us hope that the three of you can carry forth this level of teamwork and synergy and keep America the beautiful and pure of blood country that it is. May the spirit of Bob John be with you. Sincerely, Chief Theodore Teddy Running Buffalo Belt, Chief Woodrow Wilting Flower Wounded Salmon, and Chief Adolf Charging Cheetah Hitler. Stage 3. It is 1982, and America has become a land ripe with confusion and tyranny. Bob John's legacy carried forth starry-eyed believers like Teddy Running Buffalo Belt, Mahatma Phil Gandhi Smith, and John F. Kenyon Buffalo. However, this long-lasting level of synergy between whites and Indians is suddenly broken when the Asians step into the scene. Ronald Wangen is a half-white, half-Chinese movie star who starred in many classics like Kung Ching, Return of the Leopard, and Enter the Tortoise, but he figured his next course of action was to move out of filthy China and march a Chinese cavalry to America to assassinate current chief presidents Richard Insolent Insect Ravob Tricky Tick Nixon, Bowsing Bison Khrushchev, and Tom Cruising Swan Cruise Youthful Yak Cruz. Ronald Wangen successfully bombed the White Temple with the three chief presidents inside. Now it is his turn to be the leader, except for the fact that Ronald Wangen has polio and is too lazy to go out in front of an angry country of people on his own. Ronald Wangen decides that in order for order to be restored to America, these angry fools who are attempting to rebel must be put in their places. Wangen builds a large wall separating the newly immigrated upper-class Chinese and the filthy lower-class white/redskins. In addition to that, Ronald establishes the Wangen Youth, a Boy Scout-style boot camp which teaches young Chinese boys how to become patrolling officers who will kill anyone who steps outside of the appropriate boundaries. Unfortunately, for some reason, this makes the Americans angrier. Wangen knows he has to make a statement to the American public sooner or later. He just doesn't want to be the one to do it. Fortunately, President Ronald Wangen has the half-black, half-Chinese Michael Changson, his right-hand man and personal assistant, who helps him whenever he needs to use his paralyzed lower half to take a dump. Michael Changson, who doesn't really like his job, since he feels his true calling is making music, overly flamboyant karate moves, getting a bunch of plastic surgeries, and making his dream movie that he calls Kung Fu Panda. It is a cloudy and distressing afternoon, and thousands of people in a riot mob have gathered right outside of the strong stone wall that Wangen's hired goons had built, which is right in front of the Wangen Palace's front lawn. Changson exits out of the titanium-reinforced door built into the wall to come face-to-face with the mob. Juice boxes and tomatoes are being thrown Michael's way. Attention, America! My name is Michael Changson, and I will be speaking on Ronald Wangen's behalf. I understand you are all very upset about the deaths of your original three chief presidents, but we want to assure you we want... Michael stops reading his script and looks up at the people he's talking to. Masses and masses of angry Americans to the right, and masses of dead Americans who were disobedient to the left. A single tear ran down young Michael Changson's face. He decides to make an odd decision. He goes off script. We want to conquer your country and exploit it for our personal gain, and I'm goddamn tired of telling you otherwise. You all deserve to hear the undoctored truth about Ronald Wangen's motives. He is a power-hungry, insolent, undeserving man, and I'm tired of being his finger puppet. Michael's triumphant and improvised speech brings many people in the large crowd to tears, while the majority of the crowd erupts in rebellious applause. One commoner in the crowd, Mikhail Colin Krobachov, walks up to the stage, tears in his eyes, and yells, 50% white, 50% red, 100% free. Michael mirrors Krobachov's chant, and soon enough, the whole crowd joins in. 50% white, 50% red, 100% free. Mr. Wangen, tear down this wall. But then, 3 eruptions simultaneously take place. 1. The eruption of a gunshot, the bullet coming from a revolver in Ronald Wangen's hand. Wangen, at this point, had wheeled himself out through the wall door and decided to take matters into his own hands. And 2. The eruption of Michael Changson's head. In an explosion of blood, flesh, and bone, the top half of Michael's head is now separated from the bottom half of his head. The body of Changson falls into the hands of a distraught Krobachov. 3. The eruption of disgust from the crowd, who stampedes Wangen, who can't wheel himself back through the wall fast enough. His body is angrily dismembered by the furious crowd. Wangen's last words were, "You sons of bitches will never learn to just live and be happy. You just have to create problems for yourself." And this is Ronald Wangen's will. To my 8 children, one of whom is adopted, I just forgot which one, should I ever die for any reason, my fortune and estate shall be going into the grave with me. Screw all of you, you've been trying to ask me for favors my whole life. How about you eat my coattails? You all get nothing. Sincerely, Ronald Reagan, movie star and pretty cool dude, also a dictator. Now that's just character establishment. Stage 4. This is a little bit of an epilogue. The year is 2020. Half Chinese, half black man Barack Changa is now on his 6th term as chief president, and half white, half Chinese man, Chong Biden, and half white, half Indian man, Drowning Duck Trump, grew up together in the same town as kids. Biden had severe dementia his whole life, and Trump never really knew how to make people like him as a person. However, Trump was intelligent and Biden was passionate, and together the two boys would be on the streets, selling their own patented toys to American consumers for their whole lives. They don't make too much money, but just enough to get by. Their company is called Trident Toys, which comes from Trump and Biden's 3-part guarantee for their products. 1, quality, 2, passion, and 3, creativity. And also the name is created by very lazily combining Trump's and Biden's names. However, Chong Biden has an idea for another passion project he and Drowning Duck Trump can create together, a history book, compiling not only America's history, but some alternate hypothetical and counterfactual histories.
Drowning Duck, you in there?
Chong Biden asks through the closed door of Trump's humble little apartment. Yes, my boy Biden, give me 2 seconds. I'm just shaving the hair below my neck.
All right, Duck. Do what you gotta do, but I was wondering, if the two of us, we could maybe write a history book, compiling all 6 Barack Changa terms, the 2020 breathable leukemia outbreak, and maybe an alternate history timeline.
Well, the Ochanga thing and the nostril leukemia thing are all things we've heard of before, but your counterfactual history proposal has me slightly intrigued. Lay it on me, Biden.
Well, Duck, I've done some research, and I've read about this guy named John Smith, who is apparently an explorer.
John Smith? Drowning Duck Trump interrupts. Jesus Christ, how'd you even remember this guy's name? See, I forgot it already.
For God's sake, Duck, this isn't about his name. You're focusing on one small detail. You need to think big picture, not small picture.
Biden, you have dementia, remember? Of course you don't remember. I'm the one who's keeping the picture small for your sake.
Okay, well, back on topic. I've determined that John Smith was apparently killed in a brawl with some Indians, and this is before Indians and whites became one, and everyone used that rigger slur. So, what if John Smith hadn't been killed in that brawl and he migrated to that one Jamestown colony? Since he wouldn't support the coalescing of Indians and whites, do you think our America would be any different?
Chong Biden's proposal is intriguing. Maybe, Drowning Duck Trump softly says to himself. Maybe.
The darkness falls away to morning as a lone masked manhunter, the world's greatest detective, delivers 3 agents of a foreign power.
Appreciate all the trouble you went to. You must understand. The experiments we've been conducting here are against our will.
The biggest and boldest robbery in the history of New York, and a one-man job at that. So, you know who I am.